Okay, sweet. We are live. Yeah, JJ, I'm having trouble reading this game though, to be honest. I had a couple leans, but besides that, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm seeing like everyone's on Rico. Was it over 8.5 rushing attempts?
Yeah, I got
Makes sense. I remember you was talking about they want to run the ball a little bit more.
yeah, and they probably can. Yeah, they should be able to here. If they can't run it against the
Yeah.
Giants, they can't run it against nobody. What do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think this is a classic Dallas spot where they just like kill a inferior opponent?
I mean, you would think, but with the way the NFL's been going, like so many uh underdogs have been just winning straight up. It's kind
Yeah,
of hard to tell right now.
it is. I don't know. This is just like, in my opinion, am I even okay? I'm live on this. Sweet. Where's the YouTube? I gotta give the YouTube link. Yeah, like JJ, I'm a fucking idiot. Well, I don't know. The the Cincinnati money line. I was so fucking confident that the Bengals weren't gonna start off the season 0-3, right? I just thought I just thought that what's it called? The Bengals were gonna kill the nine or not the Bengals were gonna kill the Commanders. Like I didn't
That
even
was
think it
the
was gonna,
perfect bounce back spot for them, and they just
yeah.
couldn't take advantage.
Because I was like in my head, I'm like, dude, honestly, I have no clue how they're gonna get a stop. The Commanders are gonna get a stop on defense, and they didn't get a stop, and they still fucking lost. So
Yeah.
I had Chase Brown over 24 and a half rush yards. And then I was just like, because in my head, I'm like, okay, this is just like going to be a good get right spot for him. They're going to have the lead. He's a good running back. Like the Commanders' run defense sucks. I'm going to just correlate that with the Bengals' money line. And then I played them together and it fucking lost. And I was like, literally, I was so
Fucking
confident,
Bengals.
confident in that shit. I
Yeah,
don't
because
know.
me and Will put together the parlay with the Bengals money line as well, and fucking Bengals.
Yeah. They sold you too?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The Bengals, that shit was a fucking disgrace, dude. Like,
There's no hope for them this season
there's not,
for the
dude.
simple fact they lost this game.
Am I tripping, dude? I watched that whole Chiefs Bengals game in week 2, and like the Bengals pass rush was like an issue for the Chiefs O line, which is supposed to be good, and Mahomes, who's like the best quarterback at avoiding sacks. I mean, obviously he was still avoiding them.
Mm.
Commanders, they're supposed to have like a bottom offensive line, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to, but Jaden Daniels, like obviously he's really good at avoiding sacks. See, Jaden Daniels is just straight up like really good already, but
Yeah.
like he had all day. Like the Bengals pass rush like couldn't do anything. Coming in, it's like the Bengals. I thought the Bengals run defense was pretty bad, and they did really good against Robinson. And then everything just switched. Like Daniels was just like, bro, there wasn't a stop in the entire game. Like what?
Yeah, that whole offense is, well, especially like a Cliff Kingsbury scheme, just get the ball out quick. And I'm glad they actually got the ball out quick while throwing downfield. I mean, because obviously we all seen that touchdown to Terry McLaurin. Like, that
Yeah,
was a beautiful throw as he was getting hit. But, he didn't hold on to the ball for he probably held on for about maybe like 2.5 seconds on that play,
yeah,
which is probably about where you want to be as a average, like regular throwing rise, right? And the fact that he's doing that consistently or less, from what I understand, let me look at the stats, but that's what a lot of teams need to do, especially when they have a weaker offensive line. They need to get the ball out quick. They need to design plays that get the ball out quick.
but I feel like the O
But
line didn't even look like when Daniels like wanted to just sit in the pocket. Like he like looked good even outside of the Kingsbury like get it out quick stuff. Like I don't know. What's your
yeah,
take on the Bengals or not the Bengals, the Commanders moving forward?
Commanders.
Like a legit like decent team or
I mean, I don't think it's gonna be as bad as we thought it was coming into the season, but I think they'll still be decent, but they won't be no playoff team from what it looks like.
Yeah,
Their defense is just too bad. You can't overcome that.
yeah. But I think their games just might be straight shootouts though, because the offense, like I don't Daniels is really like
Yeah, the
I mean
offense is like really surprised me. Like I don't think they've not scored on any drive this season yet.
it's
They've
it's
scored on
something
every single
ridiculous.
drive. It's kind of crazy. Whether at
It's
least a touchdown or a field goal, like they've scored every time.
Yeah, it's been the last 2 games for that stat for them scoring every drive, which is just insane. Like if you look at who's around Jaden Daniels, like Zach Ertz is his tight end. Terry
Hmm.
McLaurin's like a good receiver, but he's not like elite. I don't think he's good. He's not elite. And then the rest of the receivers are terrible. Like the O line wasn't supposed to be good. The running back room is mid. Like Kingsbury's supposed to not be that good, but Jaden Daniels, dude, like he just might be like elite. Like
He was my favorite coming out of the draft for all the quarterbacks. And then
yeah,
when it came to the receivers, I was there with Malik Neighbors.
yeah,
And that's not a knock on Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison. Still great players, but I just thought they had the better tangents, I guess you could say, to go into the league and start right away. But obviously, Caleb Williams, he has that generational upside, the type of stuff you see within Patrick Mahomes, but simply just holds on to the ball too long. I mean, obviously, you can talk about scheme, but
oh my
I mean,
gosh.
just from the players themselves, outside of scheme and all that, he holds on to the ball too long. That's one of his biggest problems. And you can definitely say they really miss Keenan Allen across the middle, but yeah, I don't. Jaden Daniels is doing everything you want him to do at the moment. It's just hard to say anything else.
Let's talking about scheme real quick. Last thing before we start breaking down Thursday Night Football, because I know that's what you guys are here for. But fucking Shane Waldron, dude. Oh my gosh, Waldron is a fucking disaster. Like he's a terrible offensive coordinator. Like awful. Like the fact that he plays like he just has the worst like early down plays. Like it's like a run to DeAndre Swift every time for a terrible gain because DeAndre Swift's not a good running back. And yeah, dude. I mean, just the goal line. There was like this goal line sequence where it was like run Herbert out of the shotgun 3 times at the goal line, get no push behind the O line, and then they ran like an option pitch to Swift for like minus 11 yards or something. Like Waldron's like a fucking joke. Like I think he's definitely gonna hold Caleb back this year.
Oh yeah, he definitely has to go. Like as we can see throughout the entire NFL, scheme is very important. I mean, look at Baker last year. He improved so much with just a decent scheme. You got a play calling that fits around the quarterback. And then you got the Shanahan tree, McVay, whatever you want to call it, all those type of coordinators. You got McDaniels to look at Tua. I mean, everybody talked about like how bad he was and all that his rookie year. But then you get the right scheme, decent players around, boom, like top 15 player, right?
Yeah,
Then you got Sam Darnold, right, with Minnesota, been killing it start the season, and that's gonna stick in my opinion with the how they're calling plays and all that. Uh, Even look, Andy Dalton, who is this? Who is this? Was it coordinator? Canales, right?
yep.
Who was Canales coordinate QB last year? It was what's his face? I just said it. Baker Mayfield. And then the year before that, it was Geno Smith. Canales has done a great job at quarterbacks. I think that's just going to continue. So don't be surprised if Andy Dalton keeps on playing well. Do I think he's going to play as well as he did last week consistently? Of course not. But he's still going to be much better than how they started off the first 2 weeks of the season.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, some quarterbacks you just can't fix. Hopefully Bryce isn't one of them, but kind of looks like he is.
Yeah, he's gonna have to sit out a whole year and just develop a little bit more. He doesn't look certain out there
Yeah.
making his reads and all that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just when you're that small of a quarterback, you just have to be that elite, you know? You have to be a lead at everything, and that is hard to overcome.
Yeah. All right. Well, getting into TNF, JJ, I know you have all the utilization in front of you. Do you want to give us some utilization stuff? More so utilization stuff that stands out to you. Like obviously, we know that like Malik Neighbors is going to be on the field damn near 100% of the time, but just some utilization stuff that stood out to you, especially in comparison to what lines are available to bet on.
Yeah, so obviously the biggest thing, that's why I had to post it, was Dowdle versus Zeke. We look at week 3 rushing share percentage. Dowdle was at 50%. Zeke was at 18%. Then looking at weeks 2 and 3, Dowdle still had the share. I just backed out of it. Should have been 40 some percent. Let me see. Over here cooking stuff I'm not supposed to. 40.5% for Dowdle. Zeke, 24.3%. Then looking at snap share. Dowdle 45.7%, Zeke 20%. Obviously, you get the picture. More of the touches is going to Zeke or Dowdle. I mean, Elliott he's getting phased out of the offense, in my opinion. I mean, you saw something within the news conference saying that they didn't want to feature Zeke much when it was this whole lot of passing, just because they were down so much. So then I filtered for plus or minus 10-point differential weeks 2 and 3. So we have Dowdle at 54.8%, which was 17 snaps, and Zeke was at 9.7%, which is 3 snaps. So it's still leaning more towards Dowdle being the leader of that backfield regardless. I think Elliott will still get the goal line carries just because he is the bigger back. You think about it, Dowdle coming into the league the same exact size as Tony Pollard. So obviously he's a smaller guy. You want me to talk about receivers as well? Let me see what we
Yeah,
got
hold up.
here.
I'm gonna push back a little bit on that Zeke Dowdle stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Zeke stuff, his like snaps, his rush temp share, it all looks really bad, right? It makes sense. Why is Zeke gonna play get touches in a game when you're down a million? Like you're not gonna get anything explosive from him, right? He's really
Yeah.
good. I still think this is maybe me just having a sweet spot for Zeke. I still think Zeke's like a very good grinded out running back. Block for him to get 3 yards. He'll lean forward and get you 5. He's really good around the goal line. I don't think he's going to get phased out at all. I think it's just going to be a game script thing. And also Dowdle, I mean, Dowdle's nothing special at all either. So in a game script where it's a close game or Dallas is leading, I think that Zeke's skill set is actually like a really good one to have. Just like a physical runner who will get the yards that are blocked for him. Obviously, this Cowboys line isn't elite like it once used to be, which is kind of a problem. But yeah, I'm not buying this Zeke is out of the offense thing. And also, there's been some coach speak. Mike McCarthy's been talking about, he said on Monday, rushing attempts aren't where we need them to be right now. They want to run the ball more. Literally another game, or literally yesterday, I believe, says we need more rushing attempts. Talks about Zeke getting 15 snaps, said it's because of no huddle, 2-minute offense and stuff like that. He also said he thinks Zeke's been solid. He hasn't been given a ton of looks. It's hard to be critical of anyone when they're not getting the opportunity. So I'm not ready to rule out Zeke. In fact, I do think it's going to be pretty close to a 50-50 split here. That's just my opinion. Like I said, I could be wrong. I totally get it if you think otherwise because, I mean, he played 20% snaps last week, so it makes sense, and he's also on the decline. But, yeah, I personally think it's going to be a good game for rushing for Dallas based off the coach speak, the run defense that the Giants have, the potential game script. So I think there's value to identifying this running back room. But, yeah, JJ, if you want to keep going on that.
Yeah, so I'm filtering right now for a minimum of 15 carries in the league, which qualifies 50 running backs. Both are at the bottom of the barrel in terms of missed tackles forced per attempt. Dowdle has only forced 1 missed tackle. This is according to Fantasy Points, by the way. Zeke has forced 0 missed tackles. Stuff percentage, Zeke is getting stuffed at the 6th highest rate at 63.2%, while Dowdle's about closer to like even at 22nd best. Let me see. Actually, no, 22nd worst. So I mean, that's still in the middle because 25 out of 50. Yeah. So that's at 47.8 yards after contact per attempt. Zeke is 44th out of 50 at 1.68, while Dowdle is 33rd at 2.13. So I mean, not breaking many tackles off. Neither of them are really forcing anyone to miss tackles. So it's really hard to tell, but it sounds like Zeke is not doing a good job at all at trying to find the hole as he just continues to get stuff. Also, could be an offensive line problem.
Yeah, it's also not
But
a huge sample size either. But
yeah, 19 carries for Zeke and 23 for Dowdle. So it's pretty evenly split there as far as like the amount of touches they've gotten so far.
yeah. I also just think that Zeke's a good kill the clock out guy. You know, just like he's gonna get like he's a very strong running back. He's gonna hit. He's gonna run for what's blocked for him. You don't have to worry about that. He's gonna get hit and then fall forward for an extra yard or something. Like that's just like Zeke's just like a good back. He's in a good game script. I think that's just how I see it. But
I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think just because of the Giants pass rush. I mean,
yeah,
I think the spread is at uh six right now.
yep,
And I seen a tweet the other day that said teams that are underdogs with +5.5 spread or greater. Let's see. So NFL underdogs at +5.5 points or greater are now a ridiculous 14-2 against the spread this season with 10 outright wins, and it includes 5-0 in week 3. I think that was Sunday night. No, that was Monday night. So yeah, this game could be a lot closer than we expect.
yeah. It also could be like I don't know. Cowboys just they have a knack for
For
beating
beating
the
up the
shit out of
Giants.
teams that they're better than. You know, so
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
you thought that would have happened against the Jaguars without Evan Ingram, but somehow it still was like what, 2 possession game most of the game?
Wait, against who? Or you mean
The
against
Jaguars?
Dallas? I don't think they played Jacksonville. They
Oh no,
played
they didn't.
they lost
Sorry.
to New Orleans and then they lost
I'm
to
thinking the Browns game.
Dallas
So that
games just
was
like are rarely close. Like that's one thing I've noticed about them. They either get their ass kicked or they kick ass. So
yeah.
I don't know. If I had to make a lean, you know, I would think that the game is gonna be a Dallas shit kicking, but obviously I could be wrong. That's just like if you made me gun to my head and choose what I think it's gonna be. That's probably what I think. But yeah, you make some good points. Obviously the Giants do have a really good pass rush and this O line isn't where it once used to be. Uh
Yeah.
but also the secondary sucks. Dak, I don't know how he is under pressure. I think he's a good quarterback. Like, and then this, yeah, like I said, the secondary isn't good. This run defense isn't good. The Giants, all they have is a pass rush. So the Cowboys' O
Yeah.
line isn't terrible. Like they can hold up, and if they can hold up enough for Dak, this Cowboys offense is going to be able to click.
Yeah. And then so talking about that Giants secondary, Adoree Jackson and Drew Phillips are out. So that does lean more towards Cowboys. But so that should mean CD in the slot. CD should cook theoretically. But we thought that last week too, but they continue to give him extra help. And it looks like I remember someone put a tweet out, it might have been Jacob Gibbs or something like that. He's just not separating as well as he did last season and previous seasons. And then there's probably some extra help going his way as well, which doesn't help because who else are they really going to throw to in this offense that's really going to stand out? You got Brandon Cooks still on the decline.
Yeah, he's cooked.
Jalen Tolbert. I mean, he could be decent. Jalen Tolbert can be decent, but you're not really worried about him in a way, you know?
No, you're
You're
not.
not worried about him like you are about CD. So keeping the extra safety over the top is probably going to be the key here. See, Darius Slayton is going to be questionable for the Giants. It's not really going to mean much. because he's still got Jalen Hyatt as that vertical threat. But a lot of this passing, in my opinion, should go to Malik Neighbors, in my opinion, even though Wandale Robinson does stick out a little bit in terms of yards per route run in zone coverage. But outside of that, it's really just going to be Malik Neighbors. He's just been the go-to guy. They're revolving the offense around him.
One thing I want to say about that. Sorry. One thing I want to say about that is I checked that too. Neighbors against zone, yeah, he's still good. I think he had like a 29% targets per route ran rate against zone, but against man, he's literally like above 50% for targets per route ran, which is just like absurd.
Yeah.
I think his yards per route ran was 4.7 or something against man, and then 1.7 against zone. So he's been way better against man than zone, and the Cowboys literally pretty much are all zone. So I actually don't think it's the best spot for Neighbors here, to be honest with you. And that Dallas pass rush can always get home and cause problems for a quarterback like Daniel Jones. So to be honest, I actually have a pretty strong lean to Neighbors under his receiving yards, and it kind of makes sense too, right? Like Neighbors, he's kind of a raw prospect. I mean, he's obviously really good, but he's more kind of raw, and like I feel like these super skilled guys, they're always going to be better against man, like especially when they're young and less experienced, right? And then against zone, like that's kind of more of a veteran thing that you learn to do over time. So I actually, like I said, I really don't like the matchup for Neighbors at all. And obviously it's a Thursday night game, super public. If people start spamming overs on Neighbors and we get some steam, that's actually a play I'll be looking to play as a Neighbors under. Hopefully maybe if it gets up to 74.5 or something like that, I think I'd be fine playing it there.
I can get with that.
Yeah.
Because the only thing with Dallas, the Dallas corners are more suited towards man coverage, but because they changed defensive coordinators, Dan Quinn's not there no more. It really changes everything for the dynamic of this defense. And you're really seeing them trying to work out the kinks early on in the season right now. I think there was one game they didn't really get any pressure on the quarterback. Forget which game that was. But I mean, overall on the season, they have gotten pressure on the quarterback. Kind of helps when you play the Browns.
Yeah. Deshaun's so bad at holding the ball. He just, I don't know what's going on through his head at this point in his career. But JJ, I want to share a lean. So this is a utilization-based bet. There's a tight end on the Giants. His name's Theo Johnson. On the year, he's at a 71% route participation. He ran 78% of the routes in week 3, 76 in week 1, 53 only in week 2. I don't exactly know why that was the case. But yeah, like I said, on the year, 71% route participation. He's a rookie, so you would expect it to maybe keep climbing a little bit. But he's at 1.5 receptions for a tight end. Tight ends can just easily find these little pockets and zones. Like I said, I lean towards it, Dallas. I think if I have to pick a game script, it's going to be that Dallas crushes the Giants. He's running this many routes. He's only caught 2 out of 7 targets this year. That's due a lot of positive regression, especially for a tight end with a 6.5 ADOT. I don't know. Over 1.5 receptions for Theo Johnson, minus 130 at DraftKings. I can't. He's only at a 6% target share. With this many routes, that's also due regression, right? I don't know, man. Like, you have to be bottom of the barrel to have that kind of target share. Even if you're not a target earner, you're probably still around 10%, 11, 12% if you're running this many routes. It's, like I said, his target should be easy and catchable. Ton of zone, should be easy for like little tight end dump downs. Like the game script, I think that I have a very strong lean towards Theo Johnson over 1.5 receptions. I don't know if you have any input on that, but
I think he had 3 targets last game. I know caught one. I'm not sure what happened to the other, but then I did see a drop. So, I mean, with everything you said, like I haven't looked into his prop specifically enough, but I mean, it does sound like it's a sneaky play to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's just almost like not overthinking it, dude. It's like if you're damn near a full-time tight end and like 1.5 receptions, like I don't know. I just think that regression just should be maybe coming his way. And like I said, I think the matchup could be fine. Obviously, I checked. He doesn't have good numbers against zone, but like like no shit he doesn't. I mean, look at his numbers this year, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's a very strong lean. Like I said, I can't sell you on why it's a great matchup, but just for his role, it seems a bit short. And I don't know if you're a rookie. I was looking around on Twitter, right? If you're not producing and you're a rookie, that kind of gets you kind of look the other way as a coach almost, especially in these first couple of weeks. Like I don't think he'd be at risk for getting benched for Daniel Bellinger out of the blue. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but I just if you're gonna be close to a full-time tight end, bro, like you're gonna catch 2 balls more than that. I feel like.
No, definitely. I mean, yeah, his route participation is there. It's just a matter of you gonna earn your targets and can you catch them?
Yeah.
That drop really didn't help him last week because I believe it was in the end zone too,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Well, JJ, what,
Um,
what what would this line be if he caught 5 out of 7 targets this year instead of 2 out of 7? Like this would be minus like 190 or something. If he has five
yeah,
catches in 2 games.
it would still be a 1.5 line, but yeah, the juice would definitely be a little bit higher for
Yeah.
sure.
So that's a very strong lean. I may or may not have talked myself into that. JJ, do you want to share any leans or official? But I don't think you don't have any official plays yet, right?
No official plays yet, but a lean I do have is Devin Singletary over 60.5 rushing yards. I think it's minus 113 on FanDuel currently was the best odds. I think it was like 59.5 on DraftKings. But I think it was at like minus 120. So I was like, a yard's really not going to make that much of a difference, in my opinion, with such a high number there.
Yeah.
But I think here, I mean, it's obvious both of these run defenses have been pretty bad. I mean, you saw how bad they got gashed last week.
And
Let me see.
Derrick Henry's really this Ravens O line and Derrick Henry, this combo is really not crazy. Like obviously, like you could say, oh yeah, no shit, Derrick Henry ran over them. Like nah, like that's not a very great rushing attack in my opinion.
Yeah, because both of these teams are dead last in yards after contact per attempt allowed at 4.02 according to NFL Pro. I think the only one that really didn't hit this line was Jerome Ford, 10 carries, 37 yards. No, wrong game. Let me see, because they played the Giants as well. I think he had like 42. No, he didn't. I'm over here tripping. Cowboys. Let's see. Oh yeah, so yeah, 44 yards, 12 carries. Game script was never in his favor to run, but I think with how Devin Singletary has ran the ball this season, I think it should go. I think he should be able to get 60 yards. He's been the guy in the backfield, 50% rushing share compared to Tyrone Tracy, who was the next man up at 15.6% week 3. Obviously, the rest of that percentage is going to go to the quarterback, Daniel Jones, because he likes to scramble. I think this is also a good spot for Daniel Jones to scramble with that front four that they have.
For sure.
I think a stat I do need to check on is the Cowboys versus the blitz, because lately the Giants have been blitzing a lot. I think they're second highest blitz rate according to NFL Pro right now through 3 weeks. But I think what else we have here? We have that let's see, out of 51 qualified players, Devin Singletary's averaging the 5th most yards after contact per attempt.
People like to shit on him, bro. I don't get it. Like, just like if you just like watch him play, like people are just like, oh, he's so fucking mid. Like Devin Singletary, like he's ass. He's not a good starting running back. He's a good running back, bro. I don't know like
Yeah.
what he's super elusive and like he's just like a smart like running back, dude. Like he can play. So I know people just want to, and he's also a workhorse. So yeah, I like that too, dude. It's a very good matchup for sure. Yeah, I like it. Don't really got anything else to say on that. I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I see someone asked about weather. I'm looking at NFLweather.com. Looks like chance of rain showers. See kickoff precipitation probability 48%. So it looks like it stays 48% throughout the entire game. High humidity in the mid to high 90s. So yeah, I don't think it's probably gonna be anything crazy when it does rain, but there's a little bit of rain. I don't think it's enough to actually affect this game unless it's just pouring down rain.
Yeah. That's not bad for running though. I could
Yeah.
honestly, I think that both teams are going to run the ball a decent amount, which could easily lead to an under completions, under passing attempts, under passing yards for both teams. I really don't hate that. I see this as a pretty run heavy game, but that's just kind of how I feel about it. I don't like a Dak under attempts could make sense. Daniel Jones kind of tough because he just never takes deep shots really. So like all his plays just he can stack up those attempts pretty quick. But yeah, I mean Dak under 35 and a half, I don't hate that. Daniel Jones 31 and a half. That could make sense as well. I'm gonna share my next lean. If you guys probably already got this already. By the way, I was talking, but I really do like Zeke over 7.5 attempts, rushing attempts, or over 26.5 rushing yards. This one I haven't played yet because I am a little bit concerned about Dalvin Cook possibly being upgraded. Obviously, that could easily just not happen, and I'm just overthinking it. But I'm gonna wait and make sure that Dalvin Cook stays inactive before I play this. But yeah, basically, this. We already talked about this a lot. Giants' run defense is not great at all. Let's see the yards per carry they're giving up. Giants. Yep, they're giving up the third highest running back yards per carry. 107 rushing yards per game, 20 rushing attempts, kind of giving you some square stats. They did a good job on Jerome Ford and Foreman last week. I don't think much of the Browns' running attack. I think it's pretty below average. Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler absolutely gashed him. Brian Robinson is kind of a similar runner to Zeke, in my opinion. Obviously, he's got more juice at this point, but they're both guys who just kind of like to hit the gaps, kind of more up the middle runners. They're not running a ton of zone stuff. Eckler went 8 for 38. Let's see, Aaron Jones 14 for 94. So yeah, I obviously, and I mentioned the Mike McCarthy coach speak about wanting to run the ball a lot, and it makes sense. I mean, you just can't be so one dimensional. And like I said, think we get a good game script. I do really like Zeke here, man. Maybe I'm just completely overthinking it, and Zeke is completely cooked. But I kind of think that he's, like I said, I think he's fine for, especially if they get a lead. I think he's good for running the ball late in games. I think that he should get every short yardage attempt because he's legit still good at that. And if that's kind of in the handicap, I mean, a short yardage attempt is what, giving you like 1-2 yards max, sometimes losing you yards, getting you 0. That's obviously good for attempts. Okay, JJ, if you had to play one of these, gun to your head, over 7.5 attempts or over 26.5 rushing yards.
Shit.
It's like Zeke, you could definitely average like fucking like 4 yards a carry against his defense, but it's also, you could easily see him getting like 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to hope he breaks off some yardage here for me personally. So I'd probably have to go yards.
Yards, you think?
Because from my perspective, I just don't see him getting there. I don't think he's produced enough, especially like getting stuff 63% of the time. It's just kind of ridiculous. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I'm just a Zeke truther, bro. I really am. I just like I appreciate short yardage backs who like get the yards that they're supposed to get when they get it, and like I don't know. So I can appreciate Zeke. I know a lot of people like want to see those missed tackle forces. Like Zeke's not going to do that. Like he's just, you give him a good hole, he'll hit it, and he'll drag his defender a couple of yards, especially if he has a head full of steam. And I just like appreciate running backs like that. You know, like I'm not a DeAndre Swift type of runner. I don't like watching that. It's not my cup of tea. I like some good pounded the rock down the middle with Zeke Elliott. So I don't know. This is just a gut feeling too on the game script too, but that's a big lean for me. And Like I said, no Dalvin Cook. I will definitely be on one of these, and I know a lot of people, like I said, are going to be on Dowdle. This line has a chance to keep on going down too, which is another reason why I haven't played it. Like no one's going to be hammering the over on Zeke in 2024. So I also think you could probably find a better value, which is why I'm waiting as well. All right, JJ, do you have any other leans for us?
I lean CeeDee Lamb 100 plus receiving yards. I think, let me check what that is. When I looked, it was at plus 180 on FanDuel. Where's my FanDuel app not open? Oh, it's over here. I got like 60 tabs open. Let's see here. Alt yards, CeeDee Lamb. It's probably changed. No, still plus 180. Obviously, he should be the main guy to target with a single high coverage. I watched all the film. Usually, they're always want to target him, especially when he gets that one-on-one coverage. Let me see what coverage they're mainly running right now. So Giants, yeah, cover 1, cover 3. So cover 3 and cover 1 typically want to target your outside receiver or your wide receiver 1 in general, which is going to be CeeDee Lamb. It's just a matter of if they keep a safety over the top to try and limit him some and try to force everybody else to produce. But that's kind of why I'm leaning towards a plus 100. Because if he gets 80 yards, he's most likely going to get 100 plus as well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be target. He's mostly going to be in the slot though, but he will get about, I think, it's usually like 55 in the slot, 55 to 58 in the slot percentage wise, and then the rest on the outside. So he gets a good mix. Who was Drew Phillips was the main corner that was going to be in the slot, and he's already been ruled out. There's no Adoree Jackson, but he's still been slowly working his way back anyways, because I think he signed his contract late in the season, or late in the offseason at least, like right before week 1. I don't think there's any corners that can cover him one-on-one. So especially if they try to impress him, Dak is going to go straight for him. So I just don't see a reason why he can't go like 100 plus here.
Yeah. Sometimes what I like to do is, like, obviously you said like, oh, there could be a concern is if they put too much attention to him. Let's see. Amari Cooper is a pretty clear-cut one option. He got 12 targets, 7 receptions, 86 yards. He had like a way better game than any other receiver on the Browns. Terry McLaurin's pretty clear-cut one over there. He had 8 targets, but was a target leader by far, which is encouraging. At least like you're seeing that they're getting targeted. He only went 6 for 22, but targets were there. And then Justin Jefferson, that was a terrible game script, but he had 6 out of the 11 wide receiver targets, went 4 for 59. So I think that
And that was pretty much in the first half too.
Yeah, all the ones are definitely getting their target share against Giants, which is a good thing. And like I said, that secondary is toast. And on plays that the pass rush doesn't get there, like CeeDee, Dallas should have success. And obviously, like I said, I kind of like the running angle for the Cowboys in this game, but like, would we be surprised if like Zeke and Dowdle just fucking don't do anything and are stinking it up and they start passing? Like, no, like that's like what happens most games. Obviously, like the run defense. One thing that bothers me when I'm betting, I fucking hate when like a defense is like ass against the run and the pass. Like, bro, can y'all just be ass against like one? So like I know like if I want to bet on like a running back or a receiver or something. Like I actually
that makes that simple as the Commanders.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take that wide receiver 1.
Well, and that run defense also looked like shit too, though. Like Brown and Moss both had pretty good games.
Yeah.
One thing I want to get off my head, and you're probably going to disagree with this, but I think that this week I kind of want to get back to my roots by just playing lines that I like. Sometimes I personally overthink data and matchups and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, this football until like week 8, like there's just not that many games in a season, and it's hard to find a good sample size, right? Like we just
Yeah.
like 3 games like really isn't a lot. Like a 3-game sample size in the NBA would be like the sample size fucking sucks, right? But also NFL just like we want to use the data because like we're already almost like 25% way through the season or the regular season at least, right? But it's only 3
Yeah.
games. So I don't know. I think my approach this week is going to be that. And since there's 527 people here, I'm going to give out a prop, an official prop that is for Sunday. And let me
You
quick
like
queue it
that?
up. Yeah. Let's see. I'm queuing it up real quick. We didn't even give you guys an official play for Thursday night. We gave you 4 leans, so we got to owe you at least one for tuning in. This is literally exactly what I was talking about with my like going opposing the matchups. Here is my official prop for Sunday. James Cook over 49.5 rushing yards, minus 114 at FanDuel. Okay, JJ, just look at the line. James Cook, 49.5. That shit is so fucking low, right? It's like James
Yeah.
Cook, the Bills run the shit out of the ball. James Cook is the guy, even though I think that we're getting a little bit of an edge because of some recent blowouts. James Cook to get 50 yards. That's so slight for a guy in such a good running system who is such a good running back. But here's my write-up for it. Let me quick pull it up. So they're going against Baltimore, and I think that's why the line's low. They
Yep.
have really good run D metrics, but if you think about it, they've played Vegas, who really can't run the ball at all. They played Dallas in a bad game script. They really don't run the ball much at all, even though I want to bet on them against the Giants. But those are just 2 teams that are close to bottom of the league in running the ball with their running backs for sure. They did a good job against Pacheco. JJ, I could be wrong, but this Bills O line looks dominant week to week. This run scheme under Joe Brady looks dominant week to week. And also, I just think that James Cook is sneakily one of the best pure rushers in the game. Do you agree there with that?
Yeah, he's been very good to start the season, along with the just the run game in general for that team. 49 is pretty low number, but I guess it makes sense. But I think it'll probably be a close enough game where they'll still continue to run the ball. He hasn't
Yep.
had to run the ball a whole lot because of the blowouts, so I think it's still a pretty good line for him to go over.
Yep. And then so that's what I'm about to talk on. It's a nice, like, if you look at the raw numbers, James Cook, he's only had 11 carries in back-to-back games due to blowout. I think Ray Davis and Ty Johnson have combined for like 10 to 12 every game in those 2 games too, because they've just been blowing teams the fuck out. In Cook against Miami, and that's a Thursday night game, short week. He saw the first 11 out of 15 carries before he didn't touch the ball, didn't play the rest of the game. Versus Jacksonville, saw 11 out of the first 13 carries before he left. And then against the Cardinals in the only close game, he saw 19 out of 24 running back rushing attempts. So I think in a close game, like he's sneakily like a workhorse. Like I could be wrong, but I think that Cook is like sneakily a workhorse. So we get a game that's a 2.5 point spread, 2 really good teams. This Bills team looks fucking amazing. They are underdogs here, but I think that they just look amazing. Like they look almost flawless, even though they don't have great pass catchers. But Allen is just amazing. So I think it's going to be a close game, and if anything, I think that the Bills might be leading a little bit because I think that they're the better team than Baltimore. So close game. I think we get workhorse Cook. I think we could easily see like I think like my projection for him is like 15.5 rushing attempts or something like that. Close game. Think that this Ravens run defense, yes, they're good. Like I'm not going to deny it. But I also think that they're a little bit overvalued. And this 49.5 line, like the books are just baking the fuck out of his last 2 games where he only saw 11 carries. They're baking the fuck out of the Ravens clamping down on Zamir White and Rico Dowdle. Like, cool. They're not going to – you can't stack the box against Josh Allen. Like, he's just too good of a quarterback. And yeah, if it's a close game, which should be, I think he's going to be around 15 to 16 carries. Maybe I should have just played rushing attempts, but he's usually efficient enough. 50 yards. Give me that for James Cook.
I mean, I like that. I don't think there's really anything else to add to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even think of anything other than what you said.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. Maybe like, and this is what I'm saying too. It's like, yeah, like James Cook is getting this line because of like the matchup, and it's just like it's been a small sample size. And this is the Ravens' toughest matchup on the ground. So it's like they're probably going to regress a little bit. We should get like 4 yards a carry from him. I don't know. Like James Cook's usually like one of the more efficient backs in the league. Like I don't think just because like what would you project James Cook's yards per carry? Like what's like a median outcome for a James Cook yards per carry in this game? What do you think? Because even given the tough matchup with the Ravens, right? But
yeah, I'd probably say 3.5. I think 3.5 is probably like where I would put it
where you
as
would
far
put
as
it?
the yards per carry. Yeah.
So you think like rushing attempts might be the better way to play this then?
Um, what's his rushing attempts at right now?
I think 13.5.
13.5. Possibly, because I could definitely see probably 15 carries here.
Yeah.
14. Yeah, it's gonna be about 14 and 15, I would think, because definitely Josh Allen's gonna take some carries there.
Yeah, for sure. He's probably gonna run a lot. Just the spot, you know.
Yeah.
Good team, Sunday night football. I don't think you can make a good case there.
Yeah, so
I think that
3.5 times 14 is 49. So
I
mean,
gonna get hooked. I'm gonna get hooked here. Yeah, see, okay, I think that's where we differ a little bit though. Like I'm giving James Cook 4 yards per carry for a median projection here. Just like because he's usually gonna be around like 4.5, I think. Like more than that. Yep, I'll dock him for the matchup a little bit. That's just how I personally see it. But I definitely like can respect that 3.5 for sure. So okay, JJ, anything else before anything else for probably the Thursday night football game, right?
That's pretty much it for me. I don't really have anything else.
What about this?
I'm pretty sure that is college, and I have zero clue.
That's my flag football teammate. That's why my hair's all fucked up right now, dude. We just got back from a flag football game. The quarterback we were playing against was like Will Levis. He fucking had like 3 pick sixes and a fumble 6. Like I don't know how you fumble in flag. It was like a lateral that like someone intercepted.
Damn.
So yeah, our boy Danny, he stayed under though because we didn't touch the ball at all because fucking everything was like a pick 6. So yeah, tragic. No fun in playing defense the whole game. That's for sure. All right. Well, I think we covered pretty much everything. Was there anything you wanted to touch on, JJ, before you head out?
Could be a blowout, but don't be surprised if it is close based on like how teams have done against the spread when it's plus 5.5 or more. So I mean, just be on the lookout for that. See if that trend continues or not.
And you said gun to your head.
Gun to my head with Zeke.
No, not Zeke. Gun to your head. What's the final score of this game?
Final score, I could see like a 26-20 type of game.
Okay. So close.
Yeah.
One score. Yep.
Just because it's divisional, but I can understand the other side of how the Giants always get whooped on by the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think they're still working out the kinks of that defense. So maybe they got enough reps in to where they just take off on these guys, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Last thing I want to say before we head out is, guys, we think that we know everything. We think we know how good these teams are going to play. But sometimes, the run defense shows up. Those guys are feeling like they're having a good day. The O-line isn't. So there's just a lot of variance. Like I said, we don't know what this game's going to be. We can do our best to predict it. We can do our best to predict everything. But at the end of the day, you just got to go with your vibes. No, I'm playing.
Yeah. The NFL, they change so much going week to week. They really game plan a lot more compared to like when me and him do NBA.
Oh, dude.
NBA, like they just keep the same defensive scheme usually throughout the entire season. So say someone's doing a horrible pick and roll defense, it's going to stay like that throughout the entire season. But say someone just runs mainly cover one in the NFL, that might switch that up versus a certain opponent.
Yeah.
So
yeah, which makes sense too, right? Like, I mean, dude, you got a week to game plan. You might as well.
Every game matters in the NFL, unlike the NBA.
Yeah, those dudes showing up in a back-to-back. You think that they're going to switch to hedging the pick and roll ball handler? Fuck no.
Yeah.
They chilling in that drop. Okay, well, that's about to do it. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Quick overview. My first lean, Theo Johnson over 1.5 receptions. The dude just is playing way too fucking much to not catch 2 balls. JJ, lean Devin Singletary over 59.5 rushing yards. I think your reasoning is just really good metrics behind Singletary. He's a better running back than we give him credit for. He's a workhorse running back, and the Cowboys' run defense is fucking ass.
Yep, pretty much.
My lean is Zeke's. I have some lean on Zeke's. Zeke props. Obviously, this is probably pretty unpopular, but just a lot of good coach speak going into running the ball, and think that it's going to be a good game script for him to get some attempts in. Obviously, the matchups there with a bad Giants run defense. Lamb 100 plus receiving yards plus 180. Good alt here. Basically, what'd you say? Giants secondary sucks ass, and
yeah,
Giants
they're gonna target him a lot.
Yeah, Giants secondary
should get 10 plus targets here, easy.
Oh, for sure. I think his 6.5 receptions makes sense too. Only thing is like game script probably. And one thing that could fuck this up is if the Cowboys pass rush gets home and Daniel Jones starts throwing like pick sixes and fumbles and in the red zone and stuff. That is like one thing that could easily fuck up Cowboy yardage props. And to be honest, I can so easily see that outcome playing in my head. I don't know about you, but
looking like last week's Thursday night game.
Yeah, or the Tua game that just fucked up every like bill over. That wasn't James Cook. Yeah. So Daniel Jones is prone to that shit, so just don't be complaining if Cowboys overs don't get home because of Daniel Jones turnover sixes. I hope that doesn't happen though. And then this is a play for Sunday. James Cook over 49.5 rushing yards. Just think that he's much more of a workhorse than the raw stats show due to a couple blowouts. I think we're going to get a close game. And I'm trusting this Bills O-line and James Cook to be efficient enough, around 4 yards per carry. But I do really think that he sees like 16 carries here. So James Cook, another one there. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. JJ, any last words you want to get off?
Shit, hopefully it's not a blowout.
Yeah, hopefully it's not a blowout and no Danny 6 points the other way. That will fuck up props. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys are back here at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. Fun show. We'll have ton of props, ton of official plays and stuff like that. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have a good rest of your Wednesday.